When you analyze data using a pivot chart, you must pay close attention to the individual values in your data sets. Even so, it's often beneficial to take a step back and look at the overall trends in your data. You can enhance your analysis by projecting future values, assuming current trends stay constant, by adding a trend line to your pivot chart. To create a pivot chart trend line, you can click the pivot chart, and then on the Layout contextual tab, click the trend line button, and then select the type of trend line that you want to create. So in this case, I'll click a linear trend line, which creates a line that best fits the data that's displayed within the pivot chart. Now, the trend line only exists within the chart and the Excel program memory. It doesn't actually add data to your worksheet. And I should also point out that Excel uses linear regression techniques to create the trend line. These techniques are also implemented in the forecast function, so you can generate the same results for data you don't summarize within a pivot chart. Now, one other note is that you should always use linear for your forecast type unless you know that you need to use another type of trend line. Most of the time, you'll only use the other types of regression for scientific and engineering work, and you'll know when you need to use them. If you'd like more control over your trend line, make sure that the chart is still selected, and then on the Layout tab, click the Trend Line button again, and then click More Trend Line Options. When you do, the Format Trend Line dialog box opens. One of the more common changes that I make is to extend the trend line by 4 periods to take it out into the future. So let's say, for example, that I have a linear trend line, which I do, and I want to create what's called a forecast to look forward. And in this case, I want to go from 0 periods to 4 periods. And in this case, each of my periods is, if we look back at the chart, 1 month. So with that change in place, I can click Close, and a trend line looking ahead 4 months appears in the body of the pivot chart. Please note, though, that the farther out you make your forecast, the more likely they are to be inaccurate. But even so, a trend line gives you a basis for comparison. Trend lines help you visualize future trends in your data. A pivot chart can't replace detailed analysis, but they do help set the stage for your presentations regarding that data.